Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ MV, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
Yes, sir.
Primo, DJ Premier. Welcome,
Yes,
son.
yes.
Welcome back.
Thanks for having me again.
Yes, sir.
New Gangstar album.
Yeah.
One of the best yet.
Yes.
You know, last time I came, you asked me, was there anything? And I was like, no.
Yeah. So you lied.
Yeah.
You was being a politician.
Yeah, I was being a
Yeah,
politician.
she definitely lied.
Yeah, I didn't lie. I just did not tell the truth.
Why didn't you? We've used that line a lot of times on our women. I did not lie. I just did not tell the truth.
There you go.
The whole truth.
But why didn't you not tell the truth then?
Because at that time, I didn't know where the circumstance was going to end up because they were being in the hands of someone else, which was his business partner before he passed away. And with all the controversy going on and whatnot, it was like, you know what, until you have things in order to where you can make your next move, you got to be silent until you pull your own trigger.
Now, you actually bought his verses and songs from the old business partner?
Yes.
Now, how did that go about? Because y'all were a team. I'm sure you had stuff. How did he own that, not the family?
Exactly. We had to go to court. His family took him to court. His sister Trish was. I've been around the Guru's family since 1988. I know them very well. His sister Jossie, his brother Jay, and his sister Trish. Out of all of the siblings, Trish was always that point person whenever Guru was stressed and needed to vent, and just needed that sibling that he could really vent to and talk to, and she could talk him off a ledge.
Right.
And Trish is the one. Obviously, dude would discount her like she's not that important, but she really is because I've lived that part of his life during our whole career. Whenever he was in those modes, and all the years we toured, she would always bring her two sons on our tours with us. So when he was discounting the son, his name is Justin. Justin is the one who actually set off this whole roller coaster when he did that YouTube exposing him on YouTube, saying that he was a fraud. So when that happened, I already said, dude, you just opened up a crazy can of worms. I didn't even know he was going to do it. He called me and said, yo, if I come to New York to go see my uncle in the hospital, will you hold me down? I was like, of course, why? He said, well, check this link out. And he sent it to me, and when I watched it, I'm like, ooh, it's about to be on. So
Right.
Because of that, it's like, whatever it is to make sure the family is straight, because family is very important to me because I'm from the South. You know how it is in the South. You coming from the South as well. We're very family-oriented, so I carry the same thing that my parents instilled in me. And again, I've been through Guru's upbringing from the time I joined Gangstar. And then plus, we have Big Suge, who's the founder with Guru. So I had that leverage as well because they lived it before me. I'm the third generation of Gangstar. The first generation of Gangstar was Suge. Suge's brother was the DJ, and Guru was the other MC. And Suge taught Guru how to rhyme. Guru was a singer. A lot of people don't know that. He could sing. He could really sing.
So was he receptive when you were trying to buy these records, or was it a problem at first?
My manager, Ian Schwartzman, big up to him. He was the
What
one
up, Ian?
Yeah, Ian was like, look, I don't have an emotional attachment to this like you do, so let me see if I can communicate, because he knew I didn't want to. And it was only because of just bullshit rumors being put out that I knew weren't true, because everybody knows me in the industry. It ain't like I have a bad history of being on some bullshit.
Right.
My biggest, I guess, blame or problem in the industry was me taking a long time to turn in a song.
Right.
Preem takes forever to do a beat. It takes forever to get a song
We've
finished.
heard that once or twice.
Oh yeah, and so I'll buy it. I'll own up to that.
But
one.
when you get that record, though,
yeah.
it's worth it.
Oh yeah, no question. So, and that's the thing. I pride myself on quality because coming from Texas, I wanted the acceptance of New York big time. So through all of that me and Guru had that journey, and once we formed, Gangstar always notched up album after album and got bigger and bigger and bigger. So, and we've been through the fights. We lived together from 1988 to 1994. So through all of that, our album still came out right. So obviously there's a brotherly love there, you know what I'm saying, through the upbringing. We have different friends. He hangs with his friends, I hang with my friends, and then we had our collective friends like Dap and Malachi the Nutcracker and, the RZA. Jizza used to come by, Easy Mo B, and, on and on and on. The Cypress Hill hanging out with us when their first album was about to drop.
Right.
It was like our house when we stayed at Branford Marcellus was the hangout.
So how much did it I don't want to say how much did it cost and how much time did it take to actually?
It took 10 years, right? It was a 10 year legal battle.
It took 7. No, the legal battle started like right after he passed, which was 9 years ago, and it took 7 years for me to get the music.
Wow. And you bought it from the business partner, not the family.
Right. No, the family and I are all joined together still. We have Starr Enterprises. So it's Guru's son, who's 19. He was 9 when he passed. Shout to KC. His name is Keith Elam as well. And so it's Keith, his son, Justin, Trish, Guru's son's mother, and myself.
What made Guru even sign his vocals over to that guy, though?
Who knows? Well, how do we know that he really did that?
That's what I'm saying.
But that's what they were saying. They don't know if it's true that maybe he just forged it allegedly.
I don't think he would do that.
Well, in the courts, the documents showed that there was forgery and that there was and that he even lied under oath and said that there's no music at all. And I'm telling his sister. His sister kept stressing me, we need to do a movie about y'all's life because it's so crazy. I'm like, Trish, I think the first thing we need to do is focus on getting the music. She's like, there's no way you're gonna get it. And she said, yeah, there's no way you're going to get it. I was like, I can feel it in my soul that I am.
How did y'all finally get it, though? How did he just say, you know what, I'm going to sell it to y'all?
Ian approached his attorney and said that, suppose there's some music. Because later on in court, he finally said he did have some. But now it's about how do we get it to me.
Right.
So he's like, suppose a fee of some sort was given to get him. And there was resistance for a minute. I mean, again, 7 years, Ian's been with me 5, so during that time that we got together, I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, there's got to be a way to get it. Let's just figure it out. Ian started just making calls and sat down with his lawyer, and his lawyer was like, it's a possibility. So I said, well, first thing I need to do is hear them to make sure they're not rhymes I heard, because I have a very good DJ memory. You know how DJs are.
Absolutely.
You don't DJ, do you?
Nah.
All right. So no slight to you, but
no, that's a craft I don't have. That's y'all.
We have a certain memory, especially with me doing cuts and all that, and then me producing all of the Gangstar records. Once I joined the group, I know his rhymes. I know his Jazzmatazz albums. I know his Ill Kid albums. I know his Ballhead Slick albums. All the side stuff he's done, even when he freestyles on other people's stuff, predominantly. And then when it got to the point where I started going through needing to hear him, he brought me a whole bunch of snippets. And I was like, I can't go by snippets because how do I know it? Yeah, and they're fading out in 30 seconds. I'm like, how do I know this is legit? No,
this is even finished.
No deal. Maybe like a month passed, he came back and let me hear the full version. Listen to the full versions, and already I'm sitting there getting goosebumps, even with the snippets. I remember my lawyer was there too to watch. His lawyer's there, my lawyer's there, so everybody watches each other to make sure no funny.
So you
business.
can't bop your head too hard. You just gotta be.
I didn't bop my head at all.
Too crazy. Right,
I was in there, I wanted to go like, ooh, I know what I can do to this, but I was just like, and he's sitting next to me, the attorney, with his laptop. So I'm just like, all right, let me hear the next one. Once he brought it the second time, now I'm just like, because there were certain ones Guru wasn't really putting the performance that I'm used to in the lab. Mm-hmm. So I was like, but shit, I should still get it anyway. Maybe I could use it for a commercial. Maybe I could use it for something later on. Maybe the hook could go on somebody else's song. Mm-hmm. It just having a new Guru line. So boom, when it got to that point, I was like, yeah, let's do it. And we went back and forth with the numbers. I know what I should pay. And I know what I'm willing to pay because the first numbers, I'm like, man, keep it. It's not.
They gotta hit you high first. It gotta be 20 million. It gotta be high.
Yeah, I have 7 albums with a great career with Guru, and I was on all his Jazzmatazz albums except for number 4. And even that, shout to J. Rue the Damager because he's the one that came up with the name Jazzmatazz, and Guru paid him for the name. So and he's Gangstar Foundation. So with that, once we came to the number I was cool with. Then the transaction happened where I got a hard drive of everything. I said, I don't want any other music. I don't want anything but just his vocals. Everything else I don't need. I don't need no. I've produced every Gangstar album. I don't need no help.
What project was he working on that he had that many vocals?
Well, Guru reminds me of Sean Price, rest in peace. Sean Price has been on, there's a lot of Sean Price records popping up now. When I even talked to his wife, shout out to Bernadette, she was like, man, there's people still going, I got a new Sean Price record, and they're not even checking with her for clearance. And just out of respect for Guru and the estate, even that, it's like there's people saying, yeah, I got a Guru. I would never do something like that where I don't check to make sure I get a thumbs up before anything's released with somebody that passed away. Even with Tupac, all that stuff, and we all knew each other. I would never do that. I have a Tupac record that is shout to Noble and Money B from Digital Underground. They helped me get a Tupac verse that I haven't released. And same thing, I wanted to make sure I get the proper thumbs
clearance,
up,
right.
and they went to a Finney, and she was like, "Cool, it's yours."
So Groove was just always working.
Oh yeah, he loved to rhyme, man. That's why I was like, that's why I kept saying I know there's a bunch of stuff, And then next thing you know, once I started getting them, I said I didn't plan on the Gangster album yet. I just said let me just see if I can get into it. Thank goodness, shout out to my band, the Batter Band. I was on tour with them, and when right when I got to L.A., I was at his funeral in Boston with his father because his father told me, please come, I need you to speak, you and Suge, because he said, I feel like y'all, even when he brought us on the podium, he said, before I bring these two up, and being that Suge is the co-founder, he said, I don't care what my son went through with them, I don't care about the fights, the arguments, all I know is my son was happiest during these times of his life. And this is his father, who's the first black Supreme Court judge in Boston. So with a man that's about to be 90 years old saying that to us, and I didn't know he was going to say that, and he's very stern. He's the one that actually kind of helped me get into the hospital to see him as well. Mm-hmm. So big up to him. Rest in peace to his father. He passed. And so when it got to that point of me messing with him, I did a song called Bless the Mic, which is the last cut on the album. Mm-hmm. I asked the family, could I get some of his ashes? And they were like, yeah. So shout to Huntley Ruff. He's one of his relatives who brought the ashes to me because Justin happened to be out of town at a family reunion for Groove's family. So they were like, we trust him. We don't want anybody just having Groove's ashes. He brought it to me backstage, and he said, look, I got to catch a flight to go to Japan. I can't stay for your show, but I know this is important, and the family gave the blessing here. This is yours.
So they gave you the urn.
Yeah. Everybody has some, but I just wanted anything. I don't care if it was a pebble. I wanted some, and I want Suge to have some. So they gave me a nice amount. I took it out and checked it and everything.
So I heard you had it in the studio while you was making some of this.
Yeah, I felt like I even videoed. We're documenting this whole thing anyway. We filmed the making of the album. All the artists that are on it came to the studio and they're filmed. But we also adding that with all of my old footage. I've always been a camera guy. I've been filming since '88. Mm-hmm. So I have footage from that point all the way to 2004.
Even when I hear you talk about Guru now, you talk about him in the present tense.
Yeah.
Why is that? Is that intentional?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Even at his funeral, I said I don't want to say he was. I want to say he is, and that's how I speak. Even about my father, he just passed, and I always still like, man, my father is this, he's that. I don't do he was a great guy, and however you word your shit, is how you word it, but that's how I word mine. But I did Bless the Mic. I brought the ashes there and came up with my own witchcraft voodoo ritual that I created that because I felt like I'd have to spiritually make this thing happen. First, I would take my incense. It was sage, it's known to ward off evil energy, and I would bless it. It's just something I came up with. Rotate it 3 times this clockwise, 3 times counterclockwise, then 3 times this way, then 3 times that way. So I run this way and then up and down. Then we had this picture which is on our board, and I would just let the incense smoke bellow all through our face and stuff, and then I take the bag and let it just bellow through it, and it seemed like his ashes was soaking it all up. Maybe he was or not, but that's how it looked and appeared. And then once I do that, I kiss the bag, put it back in the box, and then I start working. So once Bless the Mic was done, I was like, damn, man. I was nervous the first couple of days, like, damn, I'm going to do it today. Nah, I'm not ready yet. Next day, I'm going to do it today. Nah, I'm not ready yet. Once Bless the Mic was done, of all songs, Bless the Mic, which he loved to rhyme, then I did Bad Name, which is our second single. That one had me going, this sounds like gangster, the traditional joint. Then I did Family and Loyalty. Cole wasn't a thought at that time. I wanted Drake on it because me and Drake had just started working on Scorpion, and we did Sandra's Rose. So I was like, man, it's the best time to hit Drake and get a verse.
Sandra's Rose, phenomenal record.
Thank you.
I'm not just saying that because he said my name, but I really think it's a phenomenal record.
Thank you. Big up to Drizzy and 40. You know what I'm saying? So from there, that's how when I got 3, I'm like, gangster album. I called the family, said this is what I think we should do. Are you with it? They were like, absolutely. And then I started going to work, as everything started to gel, I just started making calls saying, hey, you think you mess with this, you think you mess with that, and we were on our way.
I heard Cole turned you down the first time.
Yeah, the first song I gave him was called So Many Rappers, and as soon as I gave it to him, I still have the same text. I see sometimes all people show you the phone, when they do an interview on the Breakfast Club and be like, look, see. But what it was is I had just done a remix to 1995, which was off of his KOD album, and I asked him, could I get the acapella, and I did a Preem remix. So pretty much the subject matter on So Many Rappers is very similar. I swear, as soon as I said it to him, I go, man, he has vocals like that already that he's spoken on. And, Cole's very serious for the most part, so I texted him and said, yo, man, my apologies, yo. I didn't really think I should have sent you this because it's too much on the topic of what you did already on 1995. And he goes, big bro, you're right. I don't want, I've already done that topic. So I was like, yeah, scratch that. Pardon me on that. Boom. Months passed. And then when it came to starting to get the album finished, I said, I texted him and said, hey, here's one I think is more fitting. Tell me what you think. And less than 5 minutes, he goes, bro, I got the chills right now. What you use on his vocal, And I'm like, here's where we got on the phone, start talking about plugins and stuff. Yo, what'd you use? Tell him, I don't mind telling somebody like him what I use. And then next thing you know, he's like, I'm on it. And he said, I'm gonna start writing to it now. And he said, I gotta make moves with my family, go on vacation, but I'll get it done. And then he hit me back later. It's like, yo, I got more than 16. Is that all right? I'm like, dog, you can do 1,000 bars. Do whatever you want, and then I'll fix the arrangement from there. And then he sent it back, and when I heard it, I was like, yeah.
Now, that wasn't supposed to be the single, right?
No, the first single was supposed to be Bad Name, which is our second right now. And I wanted that to come out the box because I already had a vision of how I wanted the video to look. I already had it because I got to figure out how to do it without Guru there. And we have so much footage, so I knew we could incorporate that, but how do we make the video become what it is? So I envisioned his son transforming into his dad,
right? Wow.
And playing him in the video. That was my vision from day one. And I said, would you'd be down to do that? Because he's not a rapper and anything. Like, he's highly into fashion. And he was like, yo, I'm down. But I said, you got dreads though? He said, man, I'll cut them for my dad.
So you cut the dreads off and everything?
Yeah. The video drops November 6th. So you will see the transformation.
Did he have long dreads?
He's in the Family and Loyalty video.
Okay.
Right when the wheel is red, that's him with the dreads sitting next to me. So if you check that video out, you'll be like, wow, he's got a lot of hair.
Now, I heard J. Cole called and said, now I need this to be the first single.
Yeah.
Now, how was that conversation?
Well, I'm very, very selfish with being the boss of everything when it comes to how things go. Even Guru always trusted me to go, yo, these are singles. There's going to be the second one. There's going to be the third one. And again, that's where my DJ mind kicks in.
Right.
From me being a consumer and a fan of everybody's music that we buy. And like Guru said on Soliloquy of Chaos, I shit cranks too, but we got mad tapes of all the underground groups with the lyrics and bass. Like, we buy everything. Still do. And so when it came down to our marketing team and everybody getting locked in so we could pull the trigger, I literally just get a phone call and his name pops up in my phone. I'm thinking, okay, just a regular call. And he's like, bro, I need to talk to you for a second about the single. Because he had already known that it was going to be second. He said, I'll give you a video, everything. So when he said, I got to change it, I remember my head was spinning like one.
You thinking he didn't want it to be a single at all?
Well, no, I just didn't want to go first because I always felt like all of our singles have always been more up-tempo, just to get a rep. Step in the Arena, You Know My Steez, Full Clip, Skills, they were always more of the up-tempo.
Right.
And then you'll have the Casey and JoJo record. You'll have the Total record that was more X-Girl to Next Girl. It would always be the follow-up, which is really what most hip-hop artists back in the 90s would do.
Right.
So I didn't want to come out with something laid back, even though it's a dope record. I knew it became second, it's going to pop off too, following Bad Name, because Bad Name is just strictly rhyming and cuts and scratching. And
classic gangster.
Yeah.
Right.
And he said, well, bro, look at it this way. And he said, and this is my thing with, he said, I'm really into this marketing and planning shit. He said, just trust me on this one. I'm still like, like acting like a baby, just going, because I don't want to change the vision, and our vision has never been against us.
Right.
So he's like, look, he said, you are going to gain an audience that you don't have with my audience. And he said, and even if they don't know who you are, they're going to start saying, well, let me check Gang Starr. He said, it may not be all of them, but it's going to be some that will. I was like, yeah, that's true. You have a point. And my manager stressed the same thing early, too, that it should go first. And I was still like, no. So, that's 2 against 1. And even though I'm still the final say, I respected his say on it. And he was like, I'm still going to do the video and everything, but he said, the only thing is it's got to be done early in September because I'm about to just shut down. And I'm like, shut down? He said, yeah, I'm about to just disappear for a minute. And I need space between nothing happening. He said, I did so many features this year. He said, you're actually the last one. I didn't know he was going to tweet it and all that, but that was so ill that he told me that, and just off record. And then all of a sudden, when he bigged up the single drop, and he said, this will be my last feature, everybody was like, yo, you see what Cole put on Twitter and Instagram? And
that's dope.
Yeah, so big up to him, man. He's a great dude. I remember when he said, yo, you got the original sample? I was like, yeah, and I played it on my phone. And he's just like, he's really into samples. Mm-hmm. And
he's a producer too.
Yeah. So big up to him, man. He really, was one of the first ones to make me change my mind. I'm very hard-headed when it comes to knowing how to set up records because I still have that marketing and business mentality because I still stay in the know.
Was there any doubts when making the album?
No, because I know what it's got to sound like,
mm-hmm.
And the craziest part was just how current he sounds in the lyrics. It don't
Very
sound like
fresh.
It don't sound dated. It don't sound
Not
like I'm salvaging some stuff where it's like, yeah, it's 2002 and whatever. It sounds like he came in and wrote them, and everybody I played it for, from family members that were with us during the old Gang Starr days, everybody was saying the same thing. Even people now, we're looking at all the tweets and everybody's saying, yo, it sounds like he came in and literally did it, which spiritually he did.
Now, what about how long did it take to finish this whole process?
It was supposed to come out after the 20th anniversary of Moment of Truth,
mm-hmm.
which came out in 1998. So we were doing a whole anniversary for that anyway. And we said the next day we're gonna just say, boom, new Gang Starr record, and everybody gonna be like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
New joint, just unannounced. The unannounced part was planned from the get-go. I wanted that to be, so I learned that from just watching Tribe Called Quest do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I called Q-Tip and said, yo, man, how'd you do it? Give me some advice on all that. And he was like, this is what we did. We did this, we did this, we did this. And I was even telling him, I don't want to play it for nobody. He's like, yo, man, you got to play it for some people. And I said, people asking for streams to do the reviews. He's like, give it to him. I'm like, what? He's like, yo, just make sure you document who's getting it so that if there's anything, you kind of have a list of names that you gave it to if it leaks. Because obviously this is the leak era.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And from we come from the bootleg cassettes.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Not even CDs, bootleg cassette era. And back then we really were beating on bootleggers. I used to even feel bad for them because I know it's not your fault, but smack. And we were smacking them.
I saw an old MOP video the other day where they beat up a bootlegger.
Yeah.
Like somebody reposted that, maybe this weekend. I think I saw that.
That's the Mash Out Posse.
Yeah,
I've been in brawls with them. All of us, me, Guru, all of us been in brawls with MOP, and that's where I learned how to use my left hook.
For what? Tell us a story.
Billy shout out to Billy in Fame. Billy said, because sometimes just playing around, cats want to do all this, and I would always just throw a right. Just playing around, and Billy's like, yo, somebody's going to clock you one day if you don't learn how to use your left. And I was like, well, I'm nastier with my right. I got a nice mean one. He's like, yeah, but you got to have that left ready. So he was showing me just fundamentals of how to use it. One day he walks up on me doing the same playing around, and my left just automatically just swung at him, and he goes, whoa, you got it. So I was like, okay, I'm in now. I'm ready for the next fight. But
so I used to fight at shows a lot?
Shows... Somebody, a knucklehead acting up just for any reason outside.
Just to get a rep.
And the crazy thing is, I'm not used to being excited to fight. That's not my thing. Mm-hmm. They're like, yeah. Like they're salivating like, oh, good, some drama. So they really are like their records. Right. Not everybody is like their record. They talk shit and then they're not about it when you step to them. MOP is definitely about it, Freddie Fox, same
Bumpy
thing.
Knuckles,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah.
He's on the project.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We had to do a militia. That's tradition. Even getting J. Rule's Damage and Group Home back, I was like, this got to be a reunion of everything and show that the family is still love. And, we love each other.
Why
Was that
weren't y'all
difficult?
working together before he passed?
Before he passed, just a timing thing. Me and J. Rule had our differences years ago. He had left before The Moment of Truth came out in '98, and we had a record that threw a couple subs at him on a song called B.I. versus Friendship because we were upset at the time. And then when our homie Headquarters passed away, shout to him, his 17-year anniversary was on November 2nd. When he passed, I went to the wake. Actually, I dressed him in the casket because his mother asked me to dress him. And I remember she said, we didn't even know his mom. She said, the only reason why I'm dependent on you is because all the pictures on our mantle is with you and Guru and my son. Wow. And I was like, wow, I didn't even know. I knew his sister. And so when we had to get that to work out, she said, I want to see the whole casket open. I want to see his feet. I want to see his whole body. She said, but do not put him in a suit. She said, dress him hip-hop. I'm like, all right. She said, you know how he dressed. He loved his velour suit. So I went shopping with his stepdad, but he kept crying at the store like, yo, just breaking down because he had been freshly just passed. I was like, go home, man. I got it. And I bought the sneakers and the outfit, the hat, and dressed him up in the casket at the funeral home. And then this was my first time seeing J. Rue after we hadn't spoken for a few years. And he pulled me over and said, I remember when Fame's mom passed, J. Rue came with me to Lil Fame's mom's funeral, and he said, I'll never go to another funeral. I don't like seeing dead people, man.
Word.
He said, let the dead bury the dead. And I was like, well, Rue, everybody's different. He's like, nah, I'm never going again. Headquarters was the first one that he came, and he goes, Preem, I had to come. This Headquarters, and he said, man, let's squash our shit. And I was like, yeah, for sure. And we said we love each other, hugged, and we've been cool ever since.
That's dope.
What about Guru? Why weren't you and Guru working together before?
What's that?
You and Guru, why weren't y'all working together before he passed?
Before J. Rue passed?
No, before Guru passed.
Before Guru passed.
He left a note, which is when we started seeing something weird, where he said, I literally bought D&D after they closed down. We were still finishing our owner's album, and I said, hey man, I'm taking over the studio. This is where I'm gonna fix this up. I'm gonna update this. We're gonna move the
You still own D&D, right?
No, they moved.
You moved.
I mean, they sold the building.
Okay.
Yeah, so regular gentrification, condos, and all that stuff. They wouldn't even honor the lease that I had just signed for another 5 years. They were like, hey, without certain clauses that you didn't put in there, we can move you out at any time. And
Wow.
everybody, it was like everybody out. So finally found another place, and it's still called Headquarters Studios, and we're rocking. But the day I remember he came with dude, and he said, I showed him what I'm gonna do to renovate some things. Next thing you know, I get an email saying, hey man, we can still do the album, but I'm not doing it there.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, what do you, he's like, I'm not doing it there. I hate this place. I never even liked D&D. And I'm like, wait a minute. Something's going on. Like, we could tell where the weirdness is coming from, and Guru is a person that will fight you. Like, I know we've lived it. We've fought. I've seen him fight from, anywhere in the street. You could just walk up to him at a random time, especially if he's twisted, and he will fight. So now it's weird that he's not this person, and we're just like, all right, well, and I don't mind recording it elsewhere. As long he said you can mix it there, but I will never step foot in that place again. It went from regular hanging out, smoking a blunt, chilling, to fuck you. And this is like, okay, then if it's fuck you, all right, cool. And I figured that we've had a lot of fuck yous through our whole career,
sure.
so I'm used to that. So I'm just like, all right, well, maybe he's going through something, fuck it. And then another year passed. It was to where we were like, oh, damn, they're performing at SOBs tonight. I'm going there. I want to find out what the fuck's going on. All of us are going, the whole team. We're like, yeah, we going, because we're all like, everybody is just all of a sudden cut off. Family, homies, all that stuff. But like I said, Trish was the bridge to put things back into perspective, and she would keep me posted on what's going on. And that's why we respect her so much, because she's older. I think she's the second oldest, if I'm correct, or she is the oldest. She's one or the other. But she would be like, yeah, my brother called me and told me this and this and this. So I got to, and his son's mother was on point with keeping me up on stuff. So it helped, bridge things together. And then once I didn't even know he was sick until Q-Tip and Buster. I didn't even have Twitter back then. And they said, yo, man, is it true Guru had a heart attack? I was like, a heart attack? And he's in great shape. I mean, ripped, six-pack stomach, everything. He had stopped drinking. And I was like, there's no way. I called Guru's father. And was like, hey, Judge, this is Premier. He goes, who? I said, DJ Premier. He goes, who? I said, DJ Premier, Gang Starr. He goes, Chris? Which you respect. Right. He said, Chris? I said, yes, sir. He said, oh, man, I'm so glad you called. He said, this is what's going on. And, just like that. And he's like, man, he said some crazy shit going on right now. And he just filled me in. So that's his dad, like a high prestigious, well-respected man in the town. And that's where I started to get all the ins and outs. And once he said, I said, can I go ahead and tell Buster and them this is what's happening in the hospital, that he didn't have a heart attack. He had a cardiac arrest from an asthma attack. He's like, yeah, tell whoever you got to tell. I hit Q-Tip and Buster back, and they were on three-way, and I said, yo, tweet this. Just spoke to Premier. This is what happened. He did not have a heart attack. And then as everything started to trickle down, I would just get play-by-plays, and I'm hearing about we're banned from a list and all this stuff. And when I went there, they looked at the list and go, oh, no, you're not allowed to come in here. And
who banned you?
His business partner, that's what they said.
I would assume.
Wow.
Even though he says that he didn't, this is what I'm being told, and I'm being told from the right people. So when I get to the hospital, and I call Guru's father again, and his father goes, ask for a proxy advocate. He said they will definitely make sure things are straight. Plus, prior to me going, when his nephew went, he had to go through the same resistance. And when he asked for the proxy advocate and found out who he was, then Guru's father called the legal department of the hospital. That he went over everybody's head. All of a sudden, the legal department said, oh, no, there's something funny going on. Dude, you need to get down here because you got some answers explaining to do. And they said, let his nephew in. And they said, you can't go in with him. Let him go in and be with his uncle. And he went in there, got to see him, and he gave me the play-by-play. I sent my guys to go with him to make sure he was held down, and if there was any issues, and they held him down. And then when his Justin's brother, Denzel, who I cherish very, very dearly because he's the one that told me, you need to go now. It's probably maybe 2 weeks later, somewhere in that vicinity. He said, you need to go. I'm like, dogs, I can't get in. He said, I don't care. You find a way, man. And he said it like that, like really with aggression. He goes, find a way on the phone. And I'm like, he said, I just went in and got to see him. I was like, all right, I'm going to go that. I think it was like a Monday. I said, I'll go Monday. Called my same guys that took Justin there to hold him down. And plus they know where the room is, so I need my guys to go because they were there before. He said, it's on the second floor. You got to go to this room. And then it took a minute to get in there. I had to go through all different types of maneuvers. And thank goodness, I remember when my two guys went in there first, they said, we'll go in to make sure the coast is clear and go see him first. You stay in the car. Stayed in the car. I was on BlackBerry back then, so I stay in the car. I'm waiting, and I know they know how to move, So boom, they called me back. I mean, Black, Vic Black, shout out to him. He's Gang Starr Foundation. Black's texting me going, yo, come in now. That's what the text says. I take off running, go inside. Now the only thing that got messed up when I walk in, Black's going, come on. Black's a diesel dude, and he's the one that just to get a rep that's saying that he's the drug dealer.
Okay.
And that's saying I need more money. You see him walking in, and he got a Diddy Bop walk, and he's just full of muscle. And he's going, come on. And you see that, you're going to be like, hey, what's going on around here? Next thing you know, the nurse is going, excuse me, what's going on? Because they see all that motion. And I said, going to, see Keith Elam. She's like, hold on. Because there had already been little rumblings that people are coming by and weird stuff going on way prior to me going there. They look at the list, and then she pulls out another list, and they do that, and the little look up, whispers, all this stuff. Then they said, no, you're not on the list. Then they call up and say, was anybody upstairs earlier? And they go, yeah, 2 black men were up there. meaning black, and my dude E. So since they were up there, now they're really like, oh, there's no more people going up there. If they were there, and this is from the nurse telling them. Now I'm like, damn, man, I'm not gonna be able to make it. I'm gonna go out to the car. He said, Black's like, yo, we're gonna figure it out. He goes, maybe the emergency exit. I'm like, hell no, the alarms will go off.
Right.
He's like, well, if we do it real quick, I'm like, hell no, I'm not doing that. And I was like, let me just think. And then so I said, well, I'd like to see a proxy advocate. This after talking to Guru's father, and they said, oh well, they're in a meeting for at least another hour and a half. I said, I'll wait. They said, okay, well, you got to wait, and it could be 2 hours. It's almost like they're thinking I'm gonna go out and leave. Yeah. I'm like, no, I'll wait. Sat there. Even still, I'm seeing more people coming back and forth and going, and looking at me. I'm like, damn, they're definitely gonna make sure I don't get in.
Right.
I said, man, let's check around the side, but I'm not doing that emergency exit. I'm not doing that. We go around the side, and because Black said, I'm going to go around and check things out. He tells me, yo, there's this black dude outside, man. He might know who you are. You step to him. Drove around, because this was way around the hospital on the other side. I go around there. I say, yo, man, you know who I am? He go, oh, shit, Premier. He said, yeah, I know your man's up in there. I work in the morgue, of all places. Mm-hmm. He said, I work in the morgue. He's smoking a bogey. And he's like, yo, I said, is there any way you could sneak me in there, man? I mean, I'll even pay you, whatever. I just want to see my dude, man, because, I'm hearing it's not good. He goes, I know this ain't the right time, but would you listen to my demo tape?
No way.
Yes. This is real. I can't make this up.
So I hope you said, yeah, all right.
I said, nigga, I'll sign you. It should be whack. Let me see my dude. Mm-hmm. Boom. He said, well, it might be difficult, but if I don't come out in the next 15, 20 minutes, it might be tight. I said, all right, I'll wait here. So and he's by the dumpsters. Now my car's in front of all the garbage dumpsters. And so I wait. I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, Black, it's not looking good. I don't think he's coming back. He's like, yo, let's just wait. And then just everything I do is by my gut anyway, and I just gotta start saying, he ain't coming back, man. He said, let's just wait. And I'm like, yo, it's been almost 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. I say, I gotta do it my way. I said, let's go back around the front. I really had to use the bathroom. I had to take a piss. I walk in, they're doing construction at the, they have the regular bathrooms, even if you're not going up to a room that you can use before the entrance of the information desk. Boom, I go in, I tell the nurse, not the nurse, but the information people I need to use a bathroom. She said, well, the other ones are down. She said, what I can do is I'll let you pass me to go down the other hall around by the gift shop, but you better come back. I'm giving you less than 10 minutes. If not, I'm calling the authorities. I said, all right, cool. Right when I'm about to go, this black dude in a wheelchair rolls in and goes, I want to see my motherfucking doctor right now. And they know him. I don't know who this dude is. Right. And they're going, Mr. whatever, whatever his name, Mr. Smith or whatever. Okay. He's going to see you. He goes, no, I want to see him now. But he's causing such a ruckus, it's distracting the lady. So I'm like, and I'm talking about he's yelling. Now all of a sudden other people are kind of waiting their turn to say who they need to go see. And he's still yelling at the lady. And they're saying, Mr. whatever, just calm down, please. I'll call him right now. And I'm tired of this shit. And he's doing all that. So now there's other people in line, and they're kind of hovering around waiting for their turn. I'm like, this is the best time to make a move. Because, like I said, they had already told me what room it is before I got there. I go around by the gift shop, and right when I make a left to the gift shop, I look at the elevators, and I see it shows the number, and it's at like 4, and it's going 3, 2. I'm like, I should just make a run for it. Because I look back over at the information desk, and I see there's still a hovel of people, so she's not looking at me. Right. So right when it gets to 0, dogs, a family of about 4, a Spanish Latino family. Dude was big as a big D lineman, and so was the wife, big woman, and 2 kids. They walk in front of me in front of the elevator right when it lands on the lobby level, and they walk on. So I'm like, let me walk on with them because they're big. They can kind of hide me because they're way taller than me. Right. I get on. I'm just like, oh, they're going to 2nd floor. I said, what floor? They said, we're going to 2. Good. They push 2. I stand behind them because I'm like, once a door's open, that nurse may be waiting like, there's the other one. Told your ass you can't come up here. shit opens, they're going to the room right next to Guru.
Wow.
Now, I don't know this until the nurse walks up to them because I'm still walking behind them like this, like if I'm part of their family.
Right.
Boom. She says, "Oh, yes, who you coming to see?" Kind of like thinking there are more people. And they're saying we're coming. I think it was Gonzalez or something like that. From what I think I remember, coming to see such Gonzalez. And she said, "Okay, follow me." I start to walk with them like I'm going to that room, and his door is right before it. So I walk with them, and then I go and slide into into his room, and that's how I snuck in.
And what'd you do? You prayed over him?
I brought our original Gang Starr shirt, just the regular black one with the white logo, and I brought our Moment of Truth CD. For some reason, something said that's the one we bring, because Guru was facing a 5-year bid when Moment of Truth was coming out, which is why we called it Moment of Truth, and that's why it shows the courthouse, and him sitting at the court chairs like this, contemplating his fate. So I was like, this is the perfect, because they were like, if he does go to jail, you're gonna have to promote the album. So we were like, it'll be perfect timing. If he does go, this album will be timed out to work, even though it'd be unfortunate not to have him with me to work it, but he beat the case. So I walked in. First thing I did is I pulled the sheets down. I just wanted to see his whole body, see if he's been taken care of, because even my dad was in the hospital. You have to cut his nails and do all that stuff unless you hire them to do it, which is another charge on the bill. and so with that, I was like, you know what? Let me make sure that's being taken care of, since his partner's supposed to be looking out for his partner. Know, so from everything we're seeing in press and all that. So when I saw that he's unkept and his toes is not right and his fingernails is all dirty and his hair is not cut, is like really just matty hair, and I'm just like looking at him, and the what do you call it? The what's the thing that does your lungs?
The ventilator?
No.
What's it called?
It helps you breathe.
I know you're talking about. I don't know the technical name for it.
Damn, what was the name of it? Yeah, not a respirator. It goes.
Yeah.
It is a respirator, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was
a respirator?
Yeah, respirator.
Whatever that thing is, hearing that sound, that and that was helping him breathe, and his eyes was just looking. It was almost like you wake somebody up and he's like, "Hey, man, wake up!" And you kind of wake up for a second and get your thoughts together. That's how it reminded me, because his eyes were fluttering. I remember Black said when he was there before, when he went in there before me, he said he just kept yelling at him, going, "Come on, man! Come on, man! Come on, man!" Hoping that he would hear his voice, because he said it looked like he was trying to wake up, but he was his nerves and his brain was pretty much already gone. And so boom, I took the shirt, laid it on him, and I just said, "Yo, you know what this is?" And then I just rubbed the logo against him, just kind of swayed it this way, swayed it that way, gave him a kiss, and just said, "Yo, man, this is forever for life." I said, "I'll make sure whatever happens, if you don't make it, your family will be straight. I got you." And then I stuffed it down. The lady walks in and goes, "Hey, how'd you get in here?" She catches me. I'm like, "Hey, look at this cover." And I show her, this is us. I'm not no weirdo, sneaking in here. I said, "Look," I even pulled the thing out showing all the pictures of us. She said, "Listen, you got to get out of here." She said, "I'm going to give you 5 minutes." And she said, "But then you got to go." And I just stuffed it all the way up under his mattress, you know what I'm saying? Because it just didn't look like he was going to make it. And then I went back, and she walked in again like, "Hey, gotta go."
It's time, right?
But I was cool then, because it was like I got to say what I had to say.
Moment.
Yeah, and I remember seeing, I think an interview with him or an article saying, that can't be true. I want to see the footage. It's like, all right, well, see the footage, And then from there, once we got the word, Static Selector called me like 6 a.m, and he was like, "Yo, is he gone?" They said he's gone. And I called his family to make sure it was legit. They said, "We don't know yet. We're hearing the same thing. Do not confirm it." And then they confirmed it, and that's when it shot around the world.
Wow.
Damn. What do you
Crazy
think?
shit.
What do you think Gang Starr meant to hip hop during the 80s and 90s, or really the 90s?
Yeah, they started really in 80. I think Suge said that they started in, I think, around 82.
Wow.
But as far as getting a deal, they didn't get signed until 86. But I wasn't in the group then. They did like about 3 or 4 singles. And then in 88, we did Words I Manifest. And that's when I joined. So I was the 3rd generation.
What do you think they meant to the culture?
Oh, it means everything. The crazy thing is that was the part I was confident with when it came to putting this album out, because I said, man, we have a lot of Gang Starr fans. They're not gonna be like, oh man, let me listen to it. The one thing I just didn't want to do is I didn't want to make it sound like other artists that passed, and it sounds like you're just salvaging shit just to put out another record and make some money. It was beyond that. I wanted to make sure his son was straight, and yeah, as I said, when it came to negotiating the numbers, it wasn't to where it was worth paying millions of dollars for me because our legacy's already in stone.
Right.
So when it came to a figure that made sense, I said, I'll make it happen. And I already knew album-wise it's going to be right because I put my all in all my work.
I want to switch gears for a second before you get out of here because I know you're one of the greatest hip-hop producers of all time. And I saw Elliot Wilson post this yesterday, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. It was a tweet.
Made a post.
Well, no, it wasn't about Gang Starr. It was a tweet that somebody tweeted out, and it said, Puff has the greatest, because today's Puff's birthday. Said,
Happy birthday, Puff.
Puff has the greatest ear in music, not hip-hop, music history. What do you think?
The greatest ear in music history?
In music history. I disagree, but I want you're the producer.
You better put me in there. Better put me in there.
I think it's a lot of people in hip-hop
and
that
not
have
the
better
greatest.
ears.
Yeah, and I'm not the greatest, but definitely put me in there as one of the greatest.
Yeah.
But did he say one of or
No,
the?
he said the. He said Puff has the greatest ear in music.
Right.
Not just hip-hop, but
No, I don't
music
agree with
history.
that. I don't agree with that. But he I've hung with Puff. Puff was the first person I saw one day. Cause we used to collide a lot just because I was always, man, you gotta be raw hip hop and all this stuff. And Puff was always just on another level, even in the early days, man. So I remember, and I take it back to when I used to hold grudges, which I don't anymore. He wouldn't let me in one of his parties years ago, and I was like, yeah. And I was with Nice and Smooth, so he wouldn't let me in. And I was like, well, fuck this party, you know what I'm saying? So
How did you get him back? You had to charge him.
no, but Greg, yeah. Well, you know what? I will say this: whenever I charged what I charged, he always paid it with no complaints. And same thing with Big. I said, Big, I did Unbelievable for $5,000. You blow up. I want some big money, and when I charged him for the next two for Kicking the Door and Crack Commandments,
This was a long time ago. I'm just curious. How much did you charge Big for that?
For
Kicking
Crack
the Door
Commandments and Kicking the Door.
$35,000, and
record.
A piece?
each. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. And back then it was $150. Gas was getting $150, $100. And I was like, because that's why I offset my price. I was like, damn, they're getting $150. I'm not gonna say the names of everybody's money because I don't like count people's chips, but there was a lot of $100,000 per songs getting done on these albums, and I was like, man, I could really crack. I could rack up if I do mine. Most of mine at that time were 25, but for Big I was like 35, and he was like, no doubt, no, it's all good, and no damn Preem. It was, he cut the check.
I think Puff had one of the best formulas ever.
Absolutely.
But, sampling everybody's music.
Fuck
But when
yeah.
it comes to ear, I think of Premier. I think of Dr. Dre.
Yep.
I mean, we talk about music. Quincy
Timbaland,
Jones.
Pharrell,
Quincy
Pharrell.
James Brown.
Barry Gordy.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Puff, but come on. This
Yeah,
ain't
and Puff, like I said, he's always been tapped into being ahead of things. Where I remember back when we were all in limos in the '90s, and that was a big deal. Excuse me. And one day I'm in front of MCA Records for whatever the case. Puff rolls up in a town car, the Lincoln ones from back in the day.
Mhm.
He gets out and rolls down his window at me. He goes, yo, man, I need you to work. I need you for a remix because I think I had just done a remix for Das Effects for, what was it? Caught in the Act, a remix. And I used the bump because I basically got it from when Marley did it for Craig G. Next thing you know, he's like, I need something like that, and for Biggie and a couple other artists, I need them type of records. I was like, all right, cool. And I was like, yo, was this your car? He goes, nah, this is my driver. And I was like, so what? You get a driver? This is not a regular cab? He said, nah, I get a driver. He said, we don't do the limos no more. We do the town cars. I'm like, I got to get up on this because that was new. But, and now all of a sudden, town cars. Everybody started doing that. Later on, I saw him another time. He's like, yo, man, when we were working on Nas' Illmatic, we had to stop by Puff's studio when Q-Tip made the One Love beat. He pause mixed it, and we in the car listening to it like, yo, this is gonna be crazy, which forced me to change my Represent version to the one that's on the album, because I was like, man, Tip can't top me, because we've always been in competition, friendly competition, and Puff was in the SUV. He's like, yo, this is what he said, this is what we rolling in now. So Puff's always been way ahead of everybody. Absolutely. With the know, being in the know way before everybody starts wearing this certain designer stuff. He brought the Bentley out first and all that type of stuff. It was him. So he's always been tapped in way before everybody catches on. And by the time they do it, it's kind of corny to have the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, the album is out right now.
One of the best.
Yes.
Make sure you pick it up. And we appreciate you for joining us, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Gang Starr, DJ Premier.
Yes.
Primo. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.